To have a look at desoldering and resoldering the memory chip of a USB device, a flash drive. So you would need a hot air gun and a needle, an extra pair of hands if you can afford it, or maybe a pair of helping hands. You just need something to grip the USB device in place. You'll see that we use fingers, which are then exchanged for a screwdriver. Okay, so what we're going to do is heat up each of the pins on either side for the memory chip. Just keep the heat going smoothly and heat up the pins nice and even. Make sure that you don't heat up the chip, just heat up the pins until the solder is molten. If you keep a pin pressed underneath the pins, as soon as the solder is molten, you'll be able to lift away the chip, just like that. Okay, so then we would need to clean up the contact pads using the usual methods of solder braid, desoldering pump, or you could use the flux. We recommend that you use the flux to clean up anyway. It helps create a better joint. So then you need to apply fresh solder to the solder pads. And just keep tinning and cleaning your soldering iron. And just apply a small amount of solder to each of the pads. You'd also need to clean up the pins. Just gently work your iron around each of the pins, just cleaning up the solder, making sure there are no bridges. Apply fresh solder to each of the pins on the memory chip. So place the chip back on the board, back in its original position, or back in the same position if you're soldering this to a donor for a client. Solder one corner into place, then solder the opposite pin on the other side, then just work your way around the pins, soldering them back to the contact pads. As long as you've cleaned the pads and the pins, the solder job will go very smoothly. Just solder around all the pins, test for any loose pins, resolder those, rework them, rebuild the drive, test it in the BIOS, and recover the data and return the data and the drive to your client.